So checking out some charts today. What up? What up? Let's pull up Soul Sniper here and see what's going on. How's music? Too loud? Can you hear me? Type in the chat if you can hear, if it's too loud, whatever. Pull up Soul Sniper. All right, what charts are we going to look at here? Sweet. Nice. Can you hear my voice? This is like the first test I'm doing, so you're like my guinea pig. I can adjust it right here. Yo, what's going on? What's up, Profo? Sets, we looking at sets? All right, let's do that shit. Selling off today, actually. All right. Sets, D-Gods. All right, let's look at sets real quick. Although, I swear the chart was different this morning. Didn't they sell off a bunch? Nice. All right, cool. Sweet. So, yeah. This doesn't look like it's accurate, right? Is sets that price? Let's look it up here. Oh, it is 23. Wow. So what, did it get bought up this morning again? Nice. Sweet. All right, so sets, right? Let's kind of adjust this chart. I mean, RSI is like literally at one of its highest points ever on the hourly. We'll go out to 6 hours and see what that's like. I mean, dude, this thing's ripping. So if you come in on the hourly, you have like a right angle descending wedge, a broadening wedge. So something like this. And then you can draw like another trend line coming like this. And the measured move would be the distance. And like you could take the widest part. I like kind of being a little bit more pessimistic with mine. And we could do a little color change here. But yeah, so like the target out of this, it's almost there actually. So, you know, you're looking at something like this, 27-ish. I mean, as far as like whether I think it's going to go up, I mean, you know, you're already getting pretty maxed out here on the hourly, and you have multiple drives of bearish divergence. So you can come in here and you can plot it. And bearish divergence is very indicative of like seller exhaustion, right? So you have a drive right here. Let me bring this down. Then you have another drive right here. And you have another drive right here. But again, like every time like the RSI gets into the zone, you get these periods of consolidation. So if anything, like sets right here, if it comes up and hits this 27 mark, you know, you're probably looking at least like a little bit of consolidation this way, just for the RSI to cool off. Now, if you go to the 6 hour, let's see the 6 hour, because the 6 hour is going to have more data. So yeah, I mean, you have like multiple drives of bearish divergence here. So like a pullback, you know, wouldn't be out of the equation. You know, you can kind of see, here, let me bring this in like this. And so like, let me hear, bearish divergence. Let me pull this up. So with bearish divergence, you have like price action making higher highs. Oops, let me change this, adjust this here. So you have price action making higher highs, and the oscillator is making lower highs. And ideally what you want to see is you want to see it make higher highs with it, because as price makes higher and higher highs and the oscillator makes lower highs, it just shows that buyers are getting exhausted. So honestly, like if you're not in this, I definitely wouldn't buy right here. I'd wait for some kind of a pullback, maybe a test of this you know, supply line that was broken. This would be like a really good target. If you could get something right around maybe 18 or something, that's what I would think would be a good buy zone with like a lower risk, you know. And then anything, if it drops below this supply line, you know, that would be kind of like your stop loss zone. So that's kind of what I got to say about sets right now. Let me pull up this chat and see what's going on. I mean, you got to understand, like, none of this is like 100%, right? So like, obviously fundamentals, OpenSea, all that kind of stuff can totally change everything. This is just kind of a roadmap to give you an idea of like where we're at, you know, in the whole scheme of things, right? So this is obviously a very strong uptrend, but again, with RSI getting oversold, you know, let me see if I can add MACD too, because that'll give us some more perspective. So let me bring in the MACD. And with MACD, I don't really even like these little lines, so we could turn those off. Here, let's do this. We'll turn those off. And so like with the MACD, what we're looking for is we're looking for the same kind of divergences. That's what the MACD is. It's the moving average convergence divergence is what MACD stands for. So, you know, if you bring up MACD, I mean, you're getting convergence here with price action. So, you know, maybe this thing does keep ripping. I don't know, you know. It's really hard on, like, you know, NFTs, this isn't really a chart. You know, you have, like, what? 20 bars, I mean, you know, 20 bars is not that much price history. So you really have to kind of like stay on like the shorter term time frames and just kind of see where it goes. So yeah, I would look for buy zone right around the 18 mark. What else do we want to look at? D gods. All right, let's bring up D gods. All right, we cool? We cool on sets? Great. Let's bring up D gods. No end. All right, cool. So D gods building up a pretty nice ascending triangle is what it looks like here. And ascending triangle is bullish. All right, we'll look at Monkettes too. I think we looked at it this morning. I did a little like write up on it, but yeah, okay. So D gods. I mean, look at this. This is like a freaking huge uptrend. Where's my little? Let me pull this up. Come on. There we go. Look at this. So you could just take this and let's get rid of this. Yeah, cool. So. I mean, you got a parabolic uptrend. That's what it is, right? Let's just get this so it lines up with these. That's pretty good. Let's come here. So, you know, as long as price action stays above this parabolic uptrend, you got to be bullish here. You know, you're having some bearish divergence on the hourly. Let's bring up the 6 hour and see. So I mean, look at this. This is like tons of velocity to the upside. I mean, but you do have a high, and then you have a slightly higher high. You have a high and a much lower high. So this would be like a big drive of bearish divergence. You can see it right here. Boom, boom. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this would be something like, I don't necessarily know that I would buy into this, right? Because you could mark it off like an ascending triangle. And this is kind of where TA gets a little bit subjective, right? I would not, you know, coming into this, actually, I wouldn't mark this as an ascending triangle because you have this little slightly higher high. So what I would look at this more like is a rising wedge pattern. Something like this. Which this is a bearish reaccumulation pattern. So like the idea here, when it's bearish, it's slightly bearish, right? So like 60%, 55%, something in that range. So one could take, if we're just using patterns, to find the measured move out of this, one could take this. And what else does that line up with? Ah, yes. It lines up with a test of this high. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for like areas where you could say like, oh, this makes sense, right? So look at, you have confluence with this prior high. Even though it's a wick, it's still a prior high, and it does line up kind of like in this like zone right here. So you could mark this off with kind of like a rectangle of like, this is like a zone of support, right? So do you want to be buying up here when you're showing, you know, this bearish divergence, or would you, you know, maybe sit on this for a little bit and, you know, wait to see if we get a little bit of a pullback like this, right? Or if you want to bring in a harmonic here, you could take a harmonic. And so this is, so you have a high, a low, and a higher high. So that would be like a cipher or a shark. So we could bring up the cipher tool and we could start here and measure a move something like this. And the target would be about the 886. 786 could be a target. So there's a 786, which lines up with this previous zone of resistance. And the 886 is like right down here. So seeing that, you know, this could be a buy zone right there. You know, and that's saying if it pulls back, you know, I mean, it could fucking green dildo straight up to the moon from here. You know, that's just kind of, that's kind of the game. But if you're looking for like lower risk buying opportunities, this would definitely be a zone that I would be looking at. And you know, maybe it gets picked up here too, because we have this parabolic uptrend and you get, you know, a bounce along this and we move to higher prices. That could happen too. Just kind of, as of right now, it's kind of like one of those things where like wait and see. But yeah, you know, when you come out here on like the higher, let's look at the daily. I mean, yeah, the daily's up here, you know, and you kind of have a double top on this. So, yeah, uh, that's kind of what I would be looking at. Again, we could rip from here with the open sea stuff, but as far as like buying low risk, you don't want to be buying up here. You want to be buying in areas like down here. All right, what's next? What's next? Let me go through here with the chat. Monkettes. Let's look at Monkettes. All right, actually, before we look at Monkettes, let's just check in on BTC. Actually, I want to see Solana too, because Solana this morning is ripping. Yeah, see, here you go. So let's go out to the hourly on Solana. And so Solana is starting to get into, I think I posted a chart for Solana a little bit ago, a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, showing this falling wedge pattern that we were looking at, right? And if you go like let's go out to the daily just to give perspective here. So this is some of the stuff. I've had this part plotted out for a minute. I'm going to get rid of this auto harmonic just because we don't need that. So I haven't touched this chart in probably, I don't know, weeks now, right? But I was starting to get bullish down here, and I drew this arrow out because you have this kind of like broadening wedge pattern, which is the bullish reaccumulation pattern. And I think I was a little bit, you know, a little bit rushed in my thinking that this was just going to V-bottom straight up. And so, and then we ended up building this like, you know, consolidation range with this falling wedge pattern is also a bullish reaccumulation pattern. So you have bullish reaccumulation within a bullish reaccumulation. So the idea here, and this reaccumulation falling wedge was met with multiple drives of bullish divergence. So you had lower lows, multiple drive, 1, 2, and it almost got you got a third if you're looking at, you know, candle bodies, but the wicks you didn't. So this is one of those instances where it's better to follow the candle bodies. But here, we'll put this blue dot in here. So you have these 3 drives of bearish divergence, so lower lows, and then you also have higher lows on RSI, and that was met with confluence on the MACD as well. You know, you have this low, higher low, and then an even higher low while this is making lower lows. So this is like your clue. This is why I was really bullish on Solana. And I think like my mistake, not a mistake, but you know what I was thinking that a lot of these NFTs were going to get like wrecked when Solana started pumping, and these blue chips ones, they really haven't. You know, the OpenSea has been bullish, and you got a lot of inflow of capital and things. So yeah, so you know, you see this, you have 3 drives, bullish, Class A, bullish divergence, 3, 3, 3. That was your go sign that this was a buy signal. And so I was long sol here. The target from this pattern were there. So if you want to take the target of these falling wedge patterns, you go from here. And I like to have this as like a yellow. I don't know why, it's just like my thing. And then you would go here, and this could be like your target, right? Your breakout target could be up here. Also, another target that you could use would be the top, like where it enters the wedge. So you could shoot a horizontal out from there, and that could be a target as well. So you have this, you have velocity coming to the downside into this falling wedge. Price action, you know, bounces around in here, and then after it breaks, you know, is Solana, is it peaking for a minute, you know? This red moving average is also the 200 EMA. So you had the death cross right here. And this is the first test of the 200 really since you really sold off on it. So this zone right here could be like a realistic zone of like heavy resistance, right? And we could see something like this. Because Wyckoff, when he talks about the spring, this is the spring. And when you jump across the creek, this cyan line, this purple line will make it, price action jumped across the creek. And normally once price action jumps across the creek, you want to see it come back down here and test the creek. So, you know, one idea could be, you know, a retest of down here before ultimately fulfilling this ascending or this descending broadening wedge. And again, the target out of this descending broadening wedge would be the top of that wedge as well, so, which would be the all-time high. So, you know, how bullish do you want to get? Because this is the bull case. This would be the bull case going into probably the summer, midsummer. So we can go through here too, and we can look at the bearish case. The bearish case, also what I was looking at over the last like few months, is something like this. And you have this inverted head and shoulders. And this was confirmed when price action got rejected and it did not break above this previous high. So now what you're looking at, as far as you're looking at the neckline, right? And the measured move from this inverted head and shoulders would be something like this. Oops. It would be something like this. Which would be like basically down to zero. So is that going to happen? Probably not. You know, what's more likely to happen would be, you know, we came back up here. Solana tested the neckline. Now it's reaccumulating. Bulls are stepping in. Maybe the global market, you know, the global market is ready to accept higher prices. And, you know, this downside target will obviously. Yeah, for sure. Just my voice, I would imagine. I could bring this like microphone a little bit higher. How's that? Better? How's that? Is that better? Cool. All right. Awesome. Sweet. So yeah. So all right. Where are we? So that's what's going on with Sol right now. You've seen the bullish, you've seen the bearish case. Honestly, the other thing I was looking at with Sol, I don't know that this is going to happen, but it's something that I've been looking at. We're not there yet. We're not even close to being anywhere near this, but it's something to kind of, you know, look at. Make sure we have the cipher pattern. You start from this low right here. You hit the 5, then up to the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, and then down here to like. So right here, I mean, if you look at this is the bullish cipher. Like pretty much textbook, right? Bullish cipher. Here. Ha. Bullish cipher. Bullish cipher. X, A, B, C, D. Cipher, the PCZ target is 786, which this is, I mean, pretty fucking close. Like, you can't even argue that, right? So you have the bullish cipher at the PCZ, and this is something I've been looking at too. And then you have 3 drives of bullish divergence to finish it off. Now the first target of the bullish cipher would be the B point, which is right here, which is what we're approaching right now. And then the second point would be this purple line up here. And then the third target would be like the top of the structure here. So if you're looking at like a bullish shark and this playing out, you're looking at more upside like this. Something like this. Over time, obviously. It's not going to like fucking V-line straight there, right? You know, it's probably going to do something like, you know, it's probably going to go here and then bounce back and then here and then, you know, but, you know, something like this, you could see this, if this were to play out right here, you could see something like a cup and handle shaping up. Like, and that's like a lot of what we've been seeing in like the NFT space right now is like lots of like, you know, bottoming formations, you know, V-shaped recovery, cup being formed, and at that point, you know, you could take a measure. If this were the local bottom, and you want to get a price target from this zone, you could do something like this. And again, this is just, you know, kind of seeing what's possible from here, you know. And that could also be verified if we do a fib. So if we take fib levels, and this is going to be hard because Solana just like ripped from like the low, but if you take a fib level from like, actually let me go the other way. Sorry. So if we go here, back down to here, what does that target line up with? It lines up with the 1618, right? Elliott waves. So I don't necessarily follow Elliott wave. I do like Fibonacci. You know, Elliott wave, let me move this closer to. I used to follow this guy who did Elliott wave, and I've never found it to be accurate. You know, I guess you can, but it's also like really detailed analysis, and like there's so many like nuances with like Elliott wave that it's just, I don't know. This process works for me to kind of get an idea using fibs, using harmonics. You know, harmonic patterns. These things, like, they're crazy how when they work, man, they work like nuts. And when they fail, there's like clear failing levels. So like if this fails here, if this it just hits the purple target, you know right away this is the level right here. You know, price action falls below this, it's get out of Dodge. You know, and if you were buying here, you have all this space to work with, right? And that's like one of the things with like NFTs that's like really, really hard is that, you know, with this you have these clear levels and you have liquidity that like, okay, hey, I got in this trade, it's not the idea that I think, you know, let's reassess and you know, maybe size up a new chart. NFTs, man, you got to have someone buy it, right? So so that's kind of what's going on with Sol. So let's go back to what were we going to look at? We were going to look at Monkettes. I think I did look at this morning. So yeah, this one's ripping too, and this one did, you know, kind of a similar thing to what BTC did last year, and you can see the difference, like going from like a Solana chart to something like this. Like this is like a shitcoin that has like very little volume, but TA still works. You just have to be a little more creative about it. But you know, so you had this like long period of sell-off on the Monkettes, and then you broke the lower high. So here. So you kind of have a creek going here, and you have this this like falling wedge pattern, and you had a spring and then a back test of this spring, and you could draw it actually maybe this way. It might be a little bit better, well, a little bit more accurate. So you know, you kind of have this channel and it dropped in here, then you had a spring, a back test of the spring, and then you had this like broadening wedge pattern that formed, and it did something like this. I like these little thicker so you can actually see it. And then it did this. You know, and you had this broadening wedge. And, like, I love, like, this is probably one of my favorite patterns because, like, the hit rate on these is, like, so awesome. So, you know, the target out of this pattern would have been something like this. Yeah, for sure. We'll do penguins. I think it's on the list. So, this would have been the target, and this would have got you there, but look how bullish this is. It just fucking gaps up right here. So, this is quite, and this is all on the announcement of, OpenSea. So you have to remember that this is definitely fundamentally driven, but this gave you the key. Technical analysis can give you an idea of hey, something's happening. If you were paying attention to this broadening wedge, you could look at this and say, oh, okay, cool. And you have bullish divergence here too, at the fucking low. Look at that. Oh my God. Do you see this? At the low right here, you have bullish divergence. See this? Boom. Right there. You see that? I saw pesky penguins on that scam list that was going around. Maybe they didn't make an announcement, but it was on the scam list of 40 projects that were going to be listed first on OpenSea. So I think it was on that list, and I think this could be driving it. Now you're looking at, it is at, let's see, RSI is getting up in, which yellow bar? Oh, this is just the tools I'm using. This is just the trend line. So in Soul Sniper, if you use the trend line, you can just draw a line like this, and then you can adjust the pixels, so you can have it small or you can have it large, and you can adjust the colors. And then if you use the arrow tool, it'll draw an arrow. See? And then down here, this is the RSI. You can, I use 3 indicators. I use RSI, I use MACD, and honestly, I just don't pull them up on shitcoins or on NFTs because, this widget does not allow you to save the charts. So, I'll mock up this chart, and then, if I, refresh it, it just goes away, which fucking sucks. Yo, what up, Jason? What up, what up? So, yeah, if anybody knows who runs this website, if they could make it so that your charts save on here, that would be, the most epic thing, because every time I size up a fucking chart, I got to do it over again. So, yeah, so I like MACD. I already put one down here. Again, some people with the MACD, they trade this, these crosses. I don't like trading the crosses. I use this looking for divergences. So, first thing I do when I pull up the MACD is I kill the signal line and the MACD line. And then all I'm looking is for price action to diverge from this, right? All right, man. Peace out. I'm just going to keep analyzing. I don't even know if people are here still or whatever, but peace out, man. So, yeah, Monkettes, this thing's ripping. If we go to the 6 hour, yeah, okay, so RSI on this is at the highest point ever. So, if one were to want to take profit on a couple of them, this might not be a bad zone. Oh, yeah, it does suck about the chart being deleted. Trading, some don't. There's a bunch of other websites where it allows the chart saves. What's the other one that I use for shitcoins? Oh, CoinTrader. This is, so CoinTrader, this is another website that it allows you to chart shitcoins with a trading view widget, and it uses the data from CoinMarketCap. So TradingView doesn't have a fee just to see them, but look at this. This saves my chart. See, so it's another asset I've been looking at. Fabric. I've been watching, and actually I sold a bunch of Bohemians to buy. I think Bohemians or maybe I sold Tikis or something to buy Fab down here, and I bought this, and I just sold a bunch up here, just because I'm not really sure
Yeah, no. I'm gonna leave this up. Like, so I plan on doing these a lot more. Like, I started this channel like before COVID, and I've been meaning to do this. I just other stuff happens, and so I've got everything set up now. So yeah, I'm gonna keep these videos up. I'm gonna keep doing these. My goal is to try to do it like once a day for however long I feel like it, and if it helps people in Dead Kings, or if it helps other people, like, hey man, this has all helped me get a read on the market. It's I think I've told a lot of people in Dead Kings, like, I bought the top in 2017. My buddy, I don't know if he's still in here, but he got me into. He tried to get me into Bitcoin in like 2011, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, let me buy some Bitcoin. And I think I like tried to buy some, but like my bank said no because it was like shady at that time. And so like at the time you had to like go to like the 7-Eleven or get like those prepaid cards and like buy Bitcoin with like prepaid cards because the banks wouldn't allow you to transfer money because it was so shady. And so I passed it up, and when Bitcoin hit 20K, I'm like, oh shit, did I ever buy that? And I frantically like searched all these like all my old emails and stuff, and like, yeah, I never bought it. So I immediately like invested a bunch of money, to me at the time, at the top, and I got wrecked. And like, I don't know, maybe it was like 15 or 20 grand turned into like 3, and or maybe even less. And that's when I was like, man, I got to figure out how to do this. And so that's when I started like looking into charts, and I started with Chart Guys. Chart Guys is like really awesome. They do a lot of basic stuff, just like work on like identifying like levels of support and resistance. And then I found Eric Crown, and Crown is like, he's like a boss, dude. He's got like a whole series of stuff, and he does like daily live streams that I watch. I used to watch him more than I do now. I've been doing this for so long that, I'm kind of comfortable with the analysis that I do. And sometimes watching other people kind of fucks with it because, like, it's sometimes it's, like, good to see what other people are doing, but sometimes, like, it's bad because I get a read on something and I'm, like, 100% confident in that read, and then I see someone else and then I doubt myself, and then I end up being right, and then I'm, so I got to trust my instincts more is what I'm saying. So cool. Now, rant over. So yeah, I wish Soul Sniper would allow you to, or would save your charts. So, all right. So Monkettes, let's do Pesky Penguins. If you guys are still here, are you guys still here? I don't even know. Let's look. This is like my first time doing this, so it's interesting. It's interesting. Nice. At least someone's still here. Sweet. So, cool. So we're going to do Pesky Penguins. Let's look at that. If I can spell. Pesky Penguins. All right. So. Yeah, let's fucking go Penguins. I know you're holding Penguins, Jay. Let's see this. So, again, this was like... yeah, this is one of the ones on the list for OpenSea. And this is another harmonic structure that that printed, some really bullish stuff at the PCZ. So we can identify the M shape right here. And this looks like it was a butterfly. So something like this, and like this doesn't look like much, but this is like a 50% retracement right here, which is crazy. 786-ish area, and then if you come down here to the 1, 2, 1, yeah, see there it is. The 1, 2, 1, 3. There's the PCZ of the bullish butterfly. I think I had that up here somewhere. Yeah. You're looking for the bullish butterfly. You're looking for the B leg to not exceed the 886. I'm sorry, the B to C leg is not to exceed the 886. You're looking for roughly a 786 retracement. So depending on where you pull this, you could be there. Again, you also have this like scam wick. And again, these like they have to be accurate, but they sometimes when they're close, it's good enough. Especially on like stuff like this that doesn't have a lot of volume. But yeah, if you bring this out here, yeah, there we go. The 1278. So once it hit the PCZ, you did get Class B bullish divergence, right? So this was oscillator made the same low, while price action made a higher low. So that would be Class B bullish divergence. So we hit the PCZ, started building this like base of support, and then we got this scam wick. But what is it? What did that also? That also made this right angled broadening wedge. And like if you look at the Bitcoin chart, A to D took a month. A to D. Yeah, roughly it did. It roughly did. 4-week cycle. That makes about sense. But like this is also one of those things that like Bitcoin did, like in 2020 with like the COVID dump, right? So like you had this like consolidation with Bitcoin, and it just like you had this like huge fucking scam wick to the downside to like 3K, and then it just was like immediately brought up to new higher highs. And so, you know, this is one of those like, this is the perfect example, Wyckoff right here, right? So you have the creek setting up, and you could chart this all the way back to all the way back here. And so we'll make this nice and fat so you can see it and turn it purple. So you have this like long downtrend, and like your first clue that something new was happening was when it sprung and it jumped the creek. So it sprung right here, made a higher high, first higher high in like a really long time. Look, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and then boom, higher high, jumped the creek, came back down, back tested the creek once, hit resistance a second time, back tested the creek again, and now we're gone. And so, you know, if you were watching this, any buys along, like when I see this kind of Wyckoff accumulation happening here, the lowest risk areas are to like buy the test of this line as it comes down. So, you know, the first target of this break was right here, and we hit it, and then there was consolidation, right? And this target, this bullish breakout, also aligns like with this consolidation range right here. So you have this like TA Tetris that like once you start to like decipher the code, it all starts to make fucking sense. Like, am I wrong? Right? And that lines up with like this too. So you have this price action. You have a harmonic here. This was a cipher early on, actually too. You have this little cipher pattern. Same kind of deal. Broke out, hit the full target of the harmonic. And this is like super low volume. So this is like shitty of the shitcoin analysis, but it did the same shit. Look at, I mean, historically it does this. So broadening wedge, boom, breakout, right? Right angled broadening wedge. So now we're doing the same thing on like a bigger scale. And when it came down here, it also tested this prior support again and confirmed it as support. So where are we going from here? You know, price action is showing resistance, is showing hesitation at the top of this harmonic, and we're getting a little bit of a sell-off, right? But if you look on the longer picture, what is this making? It's got the startings of making a cup and handle. So if we come here and bring this out to here, and we come down, ooh, look at that. And so is this the start of a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a reaccumulation pattern, something like this? You know, this is just taking these 2 points, so there's not a lot of confidence here, and like this is, this falling wedge is going to be it. We could get some selling, and it could be something like this. But like this is the price action I would be looking for over the coming days. Something like this. And then if we see this bullish move, then we could look at the price target of the cup and handle, which would be like something like this. And then we would bring this up here like this. And so if this were the play, the next target would be up here, actually. Something like that. Well, I mean, if you're looking for more penguins, like, accumulating, like, down here, I mean, look at, you have this box of support right here that it took. I mean, and you gotta remember, this chart is, like, it's nothing. So, like, this little area, this zone of support is actually, it's, like, something that's actually significant, right? Enough buyers here defended this. Sellers tried to sell here multiple times. You have a wick, you have a wick, you have a wick, you have a wick, you have a wick. And every time there were buyers here to step in, enough to break this zone. So, I mean, if price action comes down here and maybe like test this zone, oh shit. Test this zone and then moves higher from here, like that could be really bullish. And these channels, if price action were to go that way, these are bullish reaccumulation patterns as well. So yeah, that's pesky penguins. What resistance price is there? Right now, the resistance price is the top of this wick. Let me turn this off here. So resistance price, if we zoom in here, this would be like the resistance that I would be watching right here. We got this wick all the way up to like 8.8, but this is really like 8.3. This is like the level that I would be watching for like, bullish breakout. And then this level right here is ideally, you want to see price action hold like this zone, right? Let me turn this off. Because like the idea would be that price action breaks out and then comes back, tests prior resistance, confirms it as support before moving to higher prices. So something like this, like we could get something like this, could be another bounce, and then maybe something like that. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to look at? No. Okay, no, not scam. I said, so in the analysis, what I was saying, let me turn this brush off. So what I was saying in the analysis is you have this scam wick right here. And so, like, and by scam wick, I mean, like, this, you had somebody who was selling right here, like, enormous sell pressure. And you can see it with, like, the rise in volume, too. Like, during this consolidation range, you had volume step in here, and then you had volume, somebody sold, and you can't tell if this is buying or selling volume. This is, this is both buyers and sellers, but the candle will tell you. So this is like this is a bullish hammer candle, right? Let me see if I can bring this up. I don't know if this let's see, paint. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know if, yeah, so you have like this hammer candle right here. And it could also be, this long lower shadow kind of thing. I don't know if there's a wick at the top, but both of these are bullish patterns, because you have sellers that come in, they sell all the way down to here, and then the bulls step in and they buy it all back up. And when the candle closes, you're left with, whoever sold down here is now underwater in their position, and that's where you get this. And you get this at the bottom of the downtrend is even better. This inverted hammer, and so that's what this is right here. And there's a tiny wick at the top here, but that's good enough to call a hammer. So that's what I meant is this is a scam wick, because whoever saw this wick down and sold here got scammed into thinking that it was going to sell, and then buyers came in and shoved it back up to the bull side. So does that make sense? Baked bots. You can look at baked bots. Oh wow, Solana's ripping. So let's see here. I'm gonna go back over here. We have a 5-minute bull break on Solana. So, this leads to like the bullish case for markets in general. You have this this rising wedge kind of forming, and this is 5 minutes. So again, the confidence on this is relatively low. You don't want to make trades on the 5 minute, but when you have a bearish pattern like this and there's enough bullish action to just break this supply line bullish, that's generally a good sign that the bulls are back in town, and it's generally good to be bullish as it sits right now. So that's cool. Solana 119, great. But remember, there is that resistance coming up too. Baked bots. Let's look at baked bots. Baked bots. So this is like a really new collection, obviously. Some good funky beats going on. So this is a new collection. So there's really not much to analyze, and I can't really get any deeper, than the hourly. So this one's just going to be really quick. I'm bullish on this one for two reasons. A, you have a downtrend line that I broke. This is why I bought some, because you have this supply line, and it's really tight. But again, you kind of have to see it through the fog, if you will. But you have this kind of downtrend line, and tried to do it right here, but it got rejected. Now it actually broke. It broke below this line. You have this spring. Yeah, I mean, I posted a chart in this in Dead Kings, and so you had this price action, you sprung, and then you were back testing. You sprung, you jumped the creek. The purple line is the creek. You back tested the creek. It tried to sell back into the channel, it got bought up again, and then you're testing it again, and now it's breaking out again. So similar thing. You have this channel, and now we're breaking up. The other reason I was bullish is because RSI right here, you have an ascending triangle forming on the RSI, and this is bullish too. I think I was bullish here, something like this. I was buying here, and I was bullish for this rising, this ascending triangle. But now you actually even have a larger one shaping up. So this is, the larger the pattern, the more confidence you have in it. It could also be something like this rising channel. Either way, you're looking bullish. And with the RSI, this is the neutral zone. So if you plot 50 is the neutral zone. So that's right in the middle of the RSI. So from 60 to 80, so from this to this level is the bullish control zone. And when price action generally gets into the bullish control zone, that's heavily bullish. If the RSI can come up into this bullish control zone, generally you see like a big spike in price while the RSI, develops itself in the zone. And then likewise also the 40 level is the bearish control zone. So something like right there. And we can turn this red so you can see the bearish control zone. And let's make this bigger because I can illustrate this a little. Sorry. Let me just get rid of that. So you have overbought, oversold. Neutral is 50. And so you can see when this comes up above the neutral zone here, you get some bullish price action. But mainly this is what I want to focus on is as price action gets into this bearish control zone right here, you get a strong sell-off while price action goes into this zone. And then likewise, as it comes out of overbought into this zone, you get bullish price action until it gets back into the neutral zone, right? And so one can assume as this works its way up that this will follow as well. And you can lay out some price targets here. This this would be a target. This would be a target, and then this would be a target as well. Oop, let me delete that. Yeah. So, and then obviously, your support zone. You want to see. You really want to see, like, one sole hold. This is like your heavy support. So yeah, and this support right here also happens to coincide with mint price. I think it's mint price was like $1 or one sol. So you want to see it hold above its mint price, and I do. I think it's going to. The 420 projects are pretty strong. The artwork on it's pretty fire. So yeah, some of the there's not a huge difference, like in rarity or whatever. Like this is the number 2 one. This one's pretty cool. So yeah, baked bots. Bullish from here. Dead King Society. Oh man. What's floor price on DKS now? Hey man, thanks for listening. This is my first time doing a live stream with with anybody else listening. So hopefully you're gathering something out of this, because I didn't really plan for this. I just kind of said fuck it and let's go for it. So let's look at the signets here. What's going on? Oof, 6. What's the? Yeah, I mean, the supply of this. The supply of these is like slowly getting absorbed, right? Because they're curating like a community of like people who want to be there, right? And not everybody is gonna. It's not a community for everybody, right? I know Johnny's in the community, and there's a bunch of people who have joined the proverbial club, if you will. And for me personally, like I've got to meet a bunch of project heads. It's been like really valuable as far as networking. Like I'm leading the TA now for Alder Mages in their analysis section, which has like been pretty cool for me. And I've got to meet a bunch of other people. I got to meet Johnny. I got to meet a bunch of you guys. So like for me, the value in signets, just right now is pretty awesome. And they're building like a really cool platform. So, with a long-term viewpoint, one has to be bullish on these, right? I know they have a bunch of announcements in the pipeline, but again, for somebody who minted, for free at 2 Sol, it doesn't surprise me that people are either A, being impatient and saying, hey, I just want my 6 Sol right now because it's pumping, and so they're just flooring shit, and it's justifiable, right? It's justifiable because, hey, we're in this to make money, and someone who's up 300% on an investment, you can't ever blame them for taking profit, because it is. And then, you never went broke taking profit. And if you're not the kind of person that's going to be actively involved in a community or getting value out of a community, then there's no point in you fucking holding something that you're just not going to be using, right? Especially when the floor in someone's eyes is tanking, because it was 24 just a few days ago. So, I think as the supply gets absorbed and as the people of value enter the community, the supply on this is very, very thin. And as they build out stuff, as they build out reward stuff, I think the market will unfuck itself, So that being said, let's look at the chart. And again, mint is we're only like a week out from mint. So, so there's not going to be like a ton of price action on this, right? Yeah, like this is the chart. Like I'm not really going to be able to do much analysis on this because A, there's not a lot of volume, and B, it's like so new, right? So, on the hourly, like if you were to follow just like trading the RSI, this would be a lower risk entry than like, let's say, like buying up here, right? So, all of this was huge, but then we got this big sell-off. And again, like this could be, you could look at this as a harmonic structure, but again, there's like not a lot of volume here to like justify this. So this is like really like kind of like pulling at strings, right? But there is some divergence happening. You have a low, and then you have a lower low, and then you have a low and then a higher low, right, with price action here. So you do have divergence. So there could be, justification that, we're getting into that level that, could be a level where, we're already at like pretty high, pretty low risk reward, but, given the RSI here showing this divergence, it could be, justified to saying that, hey, we could get a pop here, and maybe that's getting a little ahead of ourselves. Maybe just a move to like the 8 Sol range could be warranted, and that that lines up with what we're seeing in the marketplace too. Because if someone, if 3 signets get sold, we're back at 8 Sol, right? The bigger question here is, you want to see 9 Sol break, because the resistance now is here. So you really can't get bullish on signets until that breaks. That being said, is this setting up like some of all the other projects that we're seeing? Will it do? And again, this is like this is smoking hopium right now, right? But, are we going to see something like this? Again, total hopium at this point. But the team's like a really good team. And so, I've got faith that they're going to pull it off. And, when they make some big announcements and, it could be 25. This could be the low. This could be the low area with a measured move to a floor price in the 40 in the mid 40 range. So, it's definitely a possibility for sure. So, this looks like it's pinging too. I should turn this down like just a little bit. I think that's probably better. Does that sound better? Was my voice pinging a little bit? At least on the bar, it looks like it's better now. So yeah, so 42 sol. That's what I'm looking at. World of Solana. World of Solana. I've never looked at this project. This is World of Solana. This is a new one for me. So this is pretty cool. Oh, hey. So is this like a female collection kind of deal? 2,000 chicks. All right. 2,000 lovely ladies. Let's put it that way. All right. What's the utility on these? Is there any, are they doing staking? Are they doing that kind of stuff? What do the rares look like? Oh wow. Yeah. Matrix, this is dope. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. I'm just going to disconnect that. All right, let's look at the chart. World of Solana. All right. What do we got going on here? All right, yeah. This is actually a really interesting chart because there's not a lot of price action, but you definitely do have this this strong level right here that's acting as resistance at 2 sol, and you have a low, higher low, also higher low, and it's working on making another higher low. When you have higher lows like that, and a constant level of resistance like this, you have an ascending triangle. No, let's leave that blue, something like that. And RSI is getting up here, about to enter into the bullish control zone. And it looks like supply is steadily decreasing, which is also a good thing. And one could, with this ascending triangle, you kind of have to disregard this little island top here. But you could take a measured move from there to here. To get, what could be a price target. If bulls decide to step in here, Oop, wait. Put this horizontal line in here. There you go. So yeah, this could be this could be a price target you're looking at to the upside. With obviously a support along this blue trend line. So that's what I'd be looking at for World of Women, something like that. You know, if this breaks, your next support levels would be something like, you could take that, and you could take this 1.2, right? But Solana's pumping. Look, like powerful. Powerful. How could you be bearish on price action like this? You can't. Look at that. Wow. Look at this price action on Solana. Hourly golden cross. This is perfect example of how moving averages can be used to identify areas, buy areas within an uptrend. So you had all the, you were here, Profile, you were here earlier when we were talking about Solana. We talked about the shark. We talked about the bullish divergence, the 3 drives. And then, it was paired, and you got to be careful because there was 2 fake outs here prior. You had a golden cross here. And then when we hit the 200, it didn't hold. But if you were buying the 200 here, you still had room to get out. You were buying 108, 116, you could sell, right? Same thing here. Comes across. This one, you got a little bit of if you were to buy the 200, you at least were able to get out. Or if you bought the 200 and it dropped, you were able to get out as like a slight loss, right? And then here, same kind of deal. You don't know when it's down here if it's going to reverse. So if you're not trying to buy down here, this was the buy. Like buying down here, using these levels as like a stop loss, or like, looking left, there was like another level. If I zoom out, I always want to zoom out, right? Because zoom out, look left. Look left. It gives you the zone. This is your previous resistance. This previous consolidation zone. You had this pennant in 2020. That sold broke, right? And it was just like a straight rip, and you had this like consolidation right here. We'll do this magenta, right? And you had the highs, and it peaked out there, which also gave you your support zone for this last consolidation area. So, not only were you back testing this prior resistance as support, but you were showing strong indications of bullish divergence, on the oscillators, on multiple oscillators, to boot, right? Because you had it on RSI, you had it on MACD, and you also kind of had it on stochastic, although not so much. It wasn't so clear. It was clear though. RSI, MACD, this is your go signal right here. Oh yeah, LTC 800. That might be possible. We could try that out. Let's see. So look at this. So Solana is actually breaking this prior high from February 7th. We're working on breaking it right now. It's actually at it. So, here. I'm going to set an alert here to see if we break this to the upside. But again, so there's some interesting stuff. We haven't looked at BTC. Let's look at BTC, and then Jason will look at LTC. So BTC, this is my concern on BTC, and we're gonna start from scratch here. So okay, all right. So let's look at this, because this BTC is really freaking interesting right here. So you have on the weekly, you have this rising channel, which this ascending channel is like, it's bullish, right?
at least in the midterm, right? So you have this zone, and you come here and you could make this big rising channel here, right? And then within this channel, you've had multiple harmonics that have like pretty much fucking nailed price action, like crazy. So check this out, right? So and Jason, I was calling this shit to you like in 2021. You remember this dirty crab, this dirty deep crab. I think it was like this, and then boom down here to the 1618. Yeah, it was. And I think this was like, yeah. So this dirty deep crab we were looking at, and I think maybe I used that, or no, I think it was here. So yeah, you had this like deep crab pattern, right? And this was the target. You had this high, and then you put in a lower high, inverted head and shoulders, because you had this level, and then this level did not break this price high from February 28th, while it was putting in this deep crab pattern. And look at the 786, boom. That's what illustrates the deep crab, right? Because you have the XA, and then the A to B comes down and tests this 786 level. Then you come back up, you test the 786 again to the upside, and then it was fucking straight down to the 1618. And then you put in divergence again down here, similar to what's happening right here, and you hit the price target of this harmonic before selling off again. And you also hit the price target here and here. So now you have this cipher that's going on. And we'll bring in the cipher pattern. And so you have this cipher. This is a 50% retrace right here. 50% retrace. Then you have this cipher that goes up to the 1618-ish level. Maybe this is the 1618. And then you come down here to the 886. And this is like, dude, you can't even make this shit up. Like, you can't even make it up, because it's the 886. 886 fib retracement from this range to this range. And when you had this cipher printing, you had bearish divergence here too. That was your clue on the 12-hour. 12-hour bearish divergence, class A, right here. You had it twice on the MACD too. You see that? So you had this confluence here, and then you had this selling, right? And so now at the PCZ, you have the type 1. So this is the PCZ, right? This first low, nobody knows. You get this reaction, right? And the target at the PCZ is the B point. So you get this reaction, and it comes up, and you actually get a more bullish case. You come up and you test this prior zone right here. Do you see that? Okay. And then price gets rejected after we come up here, and it comes back down, and it puts in the type 2 return. So with harmonic structures, you have the reaction, which is the first impulse, and then you have a confirmation low. And if you get bullish divergence, that's even better, right? So if this were to put in a lower low, like if it were to come down all the way to here and put in a lower low, it would make a stronger case to be buying this. In this case, you were buying the support trend line. Like if you have this support line from like here, coming in here and here, you would just be buying this line with a stop loss. If you were being really, really tight, the stop loss would be at this low. If you're being a little more loose, you would use this as a stop loss down here. And I would argue too, like this would be like the stop loss that I'm using right now for like a bigger market, turn down, which I'll show you. Just bear with me. This is kind of a lengthy analysis. So if you're still here, thank you for listening. But here, check this out. So now, I've been pretty bullish the last couple weeks on Bitcoin.
and ultimately on everything that, on Solana and just shitcoins in general, right? Because you have this like ascending triangle, right? And so at the PCZ, you have the type 2 return and you have the ascending triangle, and the breakout of this measured move from this ascending triangle. And this is the bullish case. We're looking at the bullish case. So we're looking at the bullish case. Oh, come on, TradingView. I don't know why you're doing, because I'm hitting the Windows key. Let's do this. All right, cool. So this would be the measured move out of this ascending triangle. And as this is shaping up, you also have a golden cross to be looking at. So the red 200 EMA right here, it's been tested since you have the death cross here, you've tested it a couple times, right? And now you're breaking above the 200. And again, each time price action breaks above the 200, at least in the recent history, last couple of years, you get these like bullish impulses up. And so this measured move out of this ascending triangle, what does it line up with? Looking left. Oh, look at that. It lines up with you have a bunch of tops right here. You can just put in a level. And you have, resistance here. You have this acting as support here, again, as resistance again. And then now your target move out of this zone could be that. Right? That could be that if you're bullish. Now, usually when you have the golden cross, what you want to see it do is you want to see price action come back in to the cross. So the cross, you want to see the cross extend like this, right? Because the 50 is going to move a lot faster, so the 200 is going to go like this, right? And what you want to see is you want to see price action come through, test the cross, and then explode out of that zone, right? That's what you're looking for if you're bullish on that, right? So let's get rid of a couple of those. The thing to be watching here, though, and the thing that like really, really fucking scares me, is that on a larger scale. Well, before I get to the bearish case, let's do this. So, come on, TradingView. Okay. So ideally, if you're bullish here, you get this, maybe a comeback down here and test, and then, maybe we move up to test the top of the ascending channel, and, then you're looking at new all-time highs for Bitcoin, right? I mean, that would be like the total bull case. And then like with that, if you're looking at, that being the case, ultimately you would think that price action would break this channel bullish if we're going to come back up here. And then you can start, charting targets, fib targets, 93K, 108K is the 2 Fibonacci extension level. And if you do like a measured move from this channel right here, we'll make this a yellow dotted line. What does this line up with? Yeah, that kind of lines up with like the 2 Fibonacci extension. So, if you're like really bullish here and you're like, hey, Bitcoin's going to fucking 100K, this is your argument for that, right? This is your argument. And if you come back out, come to the weekly chart, what's going on in the weekly chart to support this argument, right? I mean, you have MACD going positive for the first time since August of 21. Last time it went positive in October 2020. Boom, right? Also, last time it went positive right here. And I know it's starting to get a little crazy, so let's zoom in here. But yeah, so you get positive right here. MACD goes positive, rip to the upside. 500% move, right? Also goes positive here. 120% move to the upside, right? So we're going positive here. You know, what's 120% to the upside? You know, something up there. 1618, fib extension, something like that. So there's your bullish case. Oh, sorry, I gotta stretch here. Oh, man. All right. So you ready? Ready to blow your mind? This is the bearish case. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. So this would be the bearish case. And this is actually a wee bit scary, right? And actually, this bullish move could still turn out to be the bearish case, and you'll see why. So if Bitcoin is so let's start here. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. We'll go to the USDT chart. We'll start fresh. So if Bitcoin is shaping up for the bear case here, we have this rising trend line, and then you have a high. Let's use this. So you have this. You have this high. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Let's do that. Boom. So you have this high. You have a slightly higher high. And then the argument would be that you have a lower high that does not exceed the high right here. So if price action, thinking about the bearish case here, price action could come up and test that zone that we just talked about and then sell off. And if we take the measured move of that sell-off, because the measured move of an inverted head and shoulders pattern is from the top of the head to the neckline, and let's use candle bodies, right? Just because candle bodies can be a little more accurate for measuring things, right? So if we were to take this and we were to do the measured, let me just grab this. So if we bring this down here, I mean, that's pretty nasty, right? So not saying that that's going to go down there, but one thing to consider is, well, first of all, that lines up with this previous, and I should actually use, is this chart longer? Yeah, see, this chart has more history. So I think that's what I did yesterday. So we're just going to use this chart, and it's going to get dirty. So, all right, cool. So if we could just take this, because this is the distance from here to here that we used to measure the upside, right? So if we measure down, it's even more, right? But this is really what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the shark. There's a shark that's shaping up from like here to here. We have the 618, and then the 886 would be down here. And so this is kind of like the bearish case. And actually, no, I didn't measure the head and shoulders. I measured this wedge pattern. Sorry, I'm getting a little wrapped up in my train of thoughts here. But so this is let's go back to the USDT. Okay, here. So let's go in. The weekly chart doesn't really illustrate this. Let's go into the 4 hour. Yeah, this will be better. So we had that ascending triangle we were talking about. But then if you could draw this like rising wedge. This is really the point I was trying to drive home. So a lot of times, like, you'll have like an ascending triangle that will break out. And then you'll get up here and it'll just like run out of gas and it'll fall down. And when you have those, they turn into these rising wedge patterns like this. And so this, and if you ignore these like two high volume scam wicks like this, you kind of have this like rising wedge pattern. And this could also be a bear flag. So if you were to move from here to here, and then go like this, that would be a bear flag. And it could also be the distance from here to here as well. So if you're measuring the flag pole, this would be like the distance. The idea would be that price action does this and then comes down, right? I mean, that's like a huge, this does line up with like, with some prior supports. Looking left on the longer term time frames. I think like, there's like, there's some like, so there's, and this is like the crazy bearish case. So like, this is hopium to the downside if you're a bear, but there's just some interesting things that line up. So if you bring this cipher in from the COVID low, you have the 618 right there, and then you have a slightly higher high, and then you come down to the 886. What does that line up with? Looking left, what does that line up with? It lines up with this previous all-time high, right? So, given a bearish Bitcoin, a bearish case for the long term, this could be a price target, 13K. And it's not even unrealistic to see that. Like if you look at gold on like a really long time frame, if I could speak, gold did something similar. So if you go to, where's gold? Gold. Let's look at gold. Let's look at gold on the monthly. Let's look at gold on the monthly. So, gold on the monthly. Kind of similar to Bitcoin, right? You had this like parabolic blow off top. It didn't do a cipher, but it did something like it did like a bat or like a bat or like a Gartley. Yeah, this is like bullish bat, and we came down to the 786 zone. But this is the monthly, so you have to remember that gold hit all-time high right here, and then I put in a slightly lower high, and then it just went sideways for like 30 years or something. So from 1980, if you bought gold anytime in this range in 1980, it took you 26 years to get your money back, right? I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to do that. And you got your money back eventually, because eventually, gold mooned and went to much higher prices. Again, here, this case, your golden cross here was like the key. And the 21, this blue 21, oh my God. The blue 21 was your guide for gold. Anytime over a decade, price action hit the blue 21 on the monthly, it was a buy. It was a buy. And now it's still shaping up like that again, And you had MACD, this consolidation. MACD now, looking to go positive again. Like, is gold, you have a cup and handle on gold. look at, I think I had this charted before, or visually like myself. I just, because nowadays I just kind of do these in my head. But I mean, there you go. There's your cup and handle on gold. And you know, let's do the measured move. Gold to 3K, baby. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. The only thing, you know, oops. The only thing here is, you know, this wick sucks. This wick sucks. But we'll see what happens. You know, this is the end of the month. You know, this could just get rebought up, and, you know, this was just the initial bears just selling into it, and you know, the supply is going to get absorbed over the next month, and, you know, it moves up to much higher prices. All right, Jason, Litecoin. Let's look at Litecoin. Are you still even here? Are you still here? I don't know if you're still here, but we're going to look at Litecoin anyway. LTC. LTC. All right. So what are we doing on LTC? Oh yeah. So LTC is really interesting, and I've been looking at this for a minute. It's kind of doing what it did like before on like at a higher level, right? So like Litecoin sold off a bunch, put in this this bullish butterfly-ish shape, and then just like went to new all-time highs, right? And the target, you know, of this range, the 886, you know, it almost perfectly got rejected and sold off from there. You know, and then you saw a little bit more of a price pump here, but it was met with some bearish divergence on the MACD, I think. Oh no, it did not have bearish divergence. It did on stochastic though, so you know that was a clue. But here again with Litecoin, you know, you're looking at a bullish shark. Bullish shark right here. Something like this. Oh wait, I gotta use the other pattern. Let's use the cipher tool, because we have a higher high. So XA, B, C, C, D. And so this was the 886 right here. That could have been your first target, you know, of the harmonic. And then also it did what everything else was doing over the last couple of months. It just, you know, you had slightly lower lows while the oscillators made higher lows, you know. And I mean, I've been watching this for weeks, you know. You just this right here, this was your big clue, because this was like your multiple drives right there were coming into fruition. And you know, so if this is the case, you already hit target 1, your target 2, you know, would be up at 233, and then, you know, 297 would oh cool, what's up, Jay? So yeah, so you know, 300 would be the top of this harmonic, and you know, if history repeats itself, you know, this could be a giant cup and handle. You know, and if that's the, like, you know, if we're thinking Bitcoin 100K, you know, Bitcoin $8 trillion market cap, all that kind of shit, you know, is this the handle of the cup, you know? And we can color code these to cyan so you can really see it. is that what we're looking at? Like on like a massive scale. This is a daily too, So like we're looking at, this is 2023, November, December. Hopium as it sits right now, but hey man, you never know. It's fucking crypto. $800. There it is. There it is, Jason. 800, baby. There it is. There's your justification. Can it be? What's the fib level there? Is it something like this? A harmonic like this. Although this is not even it can't be a harmonic. But what's the? Let's not do that because that's not even a harmonic. But let's take a fib level here. Swing high, swing low. Yeah, man. Yeah, buddy, that lines up with the 2 fib extension. So, Litecoin. Really? That's pretty sweet. You gotta have a poop dream. Poop dreams, look it up. If you have a dream of where you're pooping, it's supposed to be like money, like bullish. Like you're supposed to come into a lot of money if you have a poop dream. So, well, that was fun. Hour and 43 minutes, baby. Holy shit. I think that's it. I'm going to call it a day. Thanks. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking it out. I really had fun. This was cool. I got to do this some more. So, we'll catch you next time. Peace.